All right, guys, we have some guests here this morning. I haven't had like a guest interview in-house in a minute, so I thought it was due, and it was very last minute, so I really appreciate you guys for coming in. So with us is April and Tom Redding. They are a married couple, but they're entrepreneurs. They've made some pivots here. I don't want to say late in life, because you guys are younger than I am, so that makes you sound like old, like later in life. But you guys aren't 20-something either. Anyway, so April has a business called Whirling Goddess Coaching. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right. And then Tom, he has a clothing line. Is that what we call it?
Yeah, clothing line.
And it's called Savvy Monk, and it's SAVVYMUNK.
That's right.
All right. There we go. So anyway,
Thanks.
Yeah, you can check those guys out. So April and Tom, good morning. Welcome to the WCHE Morning Show.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Steve. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, look, our studio audience is already applauding. Hey, everybody.
Welcome.
Calm down.
Great way to start the day.
So let's just talk about you two guys. I've known you guys, friend of a friend kind of stuff for probably like over 10 years.
Yeah.
I've known of your existence. We'll say, how about that? And then, so I knew April. When I knew you, you were into hair design, cutting, hairstylist. What do we call it? I don't know. What did you?
Yeah, I was a hairstylist. A short little blip doing that. Yeah.
Okay. And then Tom, what did you do when you and April met? I
was a store manager for Zoomies, action retail sports store.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't remember the actual name of that.
Yeah.
How long had you been doing that?
I worked for Zoomies about 5 years.
Okay.
And until I went out on my own, I had a men's fashion boutique down in Philadelphia, on 2nd and Front Street, Agora, for a little while. Before then, I transitioned to construction.
Okay.
But Zoomies, running a skateboard, snowboard shop. I had a great time doing that.
Yeah. And then April, how long, you said you were just cutting, and then you pivoted into something else, right?
Yeah.
You were in the corporate world for a minute?
Well, I was like, after college, I went into did corporate sales, and then I had a moment where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and became a hairstylist for a couple of years, and then went back into corporate, and did corporate sales. But here I am, another career pivot, but, it's just one of those things you knew years ago that you didn't want to do it, and just finally shook, and now I'm doing what I'm meant to be.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to talk about both your businesses, but can you tell us about how you can share your age or not share? Give us a roundabout.
Yeah, I'm not shy. I'm currently 48. I'll be 49 at the end of this month. It's my birthday month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
And Tom, how old are you?
I just turned 50. Yeah.
Oh, you did
back
just
in
turn
December,
50.
Yeah.
Okay, happy birthday to you.
Crossed the threshold, was born again at 50. I love it.
The big 50.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are so youthful and vibrant. You have a great vibe to you. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of times, some days I look in the mirror and I go, oh, who's that old dude? You kind of catch yourself in those when you see your physical self, right? You see some wrinkles, the gray, whatever. Like my beard is white now.
I know,
there was a time when it was like, oh, salt and pepper, oh, that's hot. Yeah. Now it's like, ooh, Santa Claus, not hot.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I don't care. But inside, I don't feel like what I imagined when I was growing up, and you're going through these phases of life. Like I remember at times being like, oh, like senior, like back when I was in high school, because I'm 55, so I'm a little bit older, but seniors were like 30. They looked 30. You know what I mean? They had like a big mustache, or they had like mom hair. You're like, whoa, like they're old, they're seniors. I don't know. It was just a different time. And then as people age out, you're like, oh yeah, 60. You're like old. Yeah. And now that you get close to 60, you're like, man, I'm not old. Like I'm just getting like you just said, Tom. You're like, man, I'm just getting started, like born again.
Yeah. I mean, some of my friends are turning 60, which is crazy. We just went to a 60th birthday party. So yeah.
I think I saw a picture. You were was that in Philadelphia?
So
something about pigeons. Something was there a band called?
Oh
Pigeons,
yeah. We went and saw pigeons playing ping pong in Philly recently, but that wasn't a birthday party. That was just us joy chasing, going having some fun.
Pigeons playing ping pong.
Yeah.
I just saw it like an older guy with a big white beard, so I was like,
that's our friend Andy. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw that picture.
One of our homies. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you tell me about the pigeons playing? Now I have squirrel brain.
Yeah.
And you threw pigeons playing ping pong, so I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah, they're an awesome jam band. They've been around for like about 15 years. So yeah, they're one of our favorites.
All right, I actually thought you were like an event where it was pigeons actually like doing some, like they make, you make like chickens guess your, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting name, right? So definitely
playing ping pong
for you to inquire about it for sure. And it's a band.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so. Let's talk about you. Who wants to go first? Talk about your business. Talk about like, hey, I decided, construction sucks and I want to do, or whatever. Cutting hair sucks. Now I want to do this. Or maybe it didn't suck. Maybe just an opportunity was like, hey, April, come this way.
Yeah.
I go first because I feel like I transitioned first with, I really did like construction, and it was, getting in there, building something, seeing something done. It was, we had a great company I worked for, Lyons and Hall, as a site contractor in the area.
Okay.
We did, some really interesting local jobs around here, but it was long days. We start at 7 a.m, be done at 5, an hour there, hour home. I was just gone a lot. And then when COVID came, it really switched things up with having a first grader at home that, was taken out of school and having to, no more daycare and things like that. And April had a home job where she worked at her home office.
Yeah.
So I kind of transitioned out of that to help take care of the home during COVID.
What a crazy time, right?
Yeah, it really was. And with that transition and being home more, it was really amazing to be home with my kids and, seeing my little daughters grow up. And I was able to take that time and instead of going back to full-time construction work, kind of went out on my own doing handyman jobs.
Okay.
And then, we...
By the way, being at home...
Yeah.
Has gotten a bad rap. I think it's coming back around a little bit because of COVID and the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think men are waking up to some different things as well. But the idea of staying at home and raising your children has been crapped on by a huge, demographic where it's like, it's devalued the person who stays at home and raises children. Like that it's like they're, you're a homemaker.
Yeah.
And yet if we go back, and I think it's so weird, we do this in society all the time, is like culturally, it has always been of huge value in so many cultures.
Yeah.
The person who is, you're not just a babysitter. I think that's, you are raising youth.
I was teaching first grade at this point.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who's, in first grade, trying to learn her alphabet and how to write.
That's looked very different over time periods. Like part of, cultures, like let's look at the Amish, because that's sort of a glimpse into a different time, right? Like you're out there, kids are out there in the field, they're helping out, they're learning about how we sustain ourselves, where does our food come from, and there's like, do you know how to butcher do you know how to get milk out of an animal? Do you know how to harvest an animal? Do you know what animal, what things go with? There's science going on, like real natural knowledge of, living and life. And I think that's, the Oprah, I'll call it the Oprah Winfrey crowd of the 80s. Like, we're like, oh, you got to get a job. And like, and then why? It's a scam to put your kids in, to go make them go do something else when in these very important years of development, like, oh yeah, let's go a stranger will do it. This idea, I say it all the time, like big government. I'm not into big government because I think you give away your power. And then when big government lets you down, which it always does, because it's not It was never meant to be like that. And then, you go, oh, big surprise. It's inefficient and it doesn't do, what we really want it to do and all that other crap. But not to get too super crazy. But so anyway, kudos to you for like having that experience and like being like, oh, this is kind of important.
Yeah, it was great. Cool. Yeah. I really liked being home when I could and, writing my own schedule. I was picking up side jobs here and there. But, it's funny. We were at a point in our life right then, too, when we were like, do we need a bigger house? Should we put an addition on this? And then we're like, well, maybe we invest our money back into ourselves. And I, even when I met April and working at Zoomies and being around all these brand owners, I was like, I've always kind of secretly wanted my own brand. And it started way back in the day as a kid, skateboarding, wanting my own skate brand. And I have a business degree. I graduated from Lehigh Valley College with associates in business management and marketing. I was like, I need to use that. And I was like, I was like,
and why do it for somebody else?
Let's start it off. And if we put our attention to it, we can make it happen. And I started Savvy Monk. It's like 2 years ago now. We're coming up on our anniversary of just purchasing the LLC and making it happen. And it's been an amazing adventure.
Yeah, I see some of your, it's funny because I see some of your clothing, and it's one of those things that's an awareness, right? You're like yesterday, there's a girl at my gym, and I wasn't even at the gym, but I was driving by the gym, and she had a pair of your pants on. Yeah. Not your personal pants, but Savvy Monk pants on. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, look at those wild pants. And then I said something to her yesterday, and she goes, oh, yeah, those are like Savvy Monk pants. And I'm like, oh, my God. And that's what kind of then really... we had talked about wanting to have you on anyway, April, I know. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I gotta see if they're available. So it's just like, it's funny how things line up like that.
Serendipitous, isn't it? Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's very cool. So, Tom, what's been some highlights of Savvy Monk and maybe some, oh man, whoa.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It really is hard. In the face. Creating something from nothing. The highlights are. Every time we set up a pop-up shop, we do a little bit better, Okay. Our first one here was at Turk's Head Music Festival.
Okay, last summer. Yeah.
That was our first little pop-up shop. And everyone really loved the designs. We sold a lot of clothes. And, the next time we go, we bring a little bit more clothes, a couple more designs, and we almost sell out every time. So that part's been really fun. The hard part is like trying to design a website, get all the pictures. The marketing is hard for me too. I have a little bit of trouble being seen. I think I'm not one to post a lot of stuff on social media, and that's about to change. I really want to, start. It was really a learning curve for me to. I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to look like high-end luxury stuff, and when you're just getting started, using like print-on-demand models just to test the market, it's not the high-end look that I hope to have in the real near future, but I trust the process and just keep, one day at a time, evolving and progressing.
Yeah, I always, that struggle of business and creativity is, I think, the big split, right? And Eric has heard me say this many, many times, that sometimes scaling up isn't always the best, right? Because you don't have that. Sometimes you can lose that. I've seen it in a variety of ways in my industry, and I've seen it in a lot of things. Like you watch something, it's sort of I don't know, there's that thing in us that makes us want things and want more, and like you kind of like we're talking about like getting sucked into I got to get a newer house, I got to get a bigger house, and like, well, why? I got a bathroom, I have a place to lay down, I have a place to make my meal. Why do I need more? Mm-hmm. And there's not that there's something necessarily wrong with that, but I think you have to have some type of awareness. And then it's like, I call it the bean counter and the artist. Right? Like the artist who makes a painting and they're like, oh, I've created this beautiful painting. And you're like, yeah, that's beautiful. I want that painting. And you're like, oh, well, I don't want to give it away. I created it. It's like my baby. But you're like, well, I'll buy it I'll give you $1,000 for it. And you're like, oh, well, yeah. All right, cool. Because that's going to, buy a lot of bread, whatever, cheese,
more paint.
And then you're like, and then you, as the things grow, then you got somebody who's the bean counter, right? There's or maybe it's you, and you're like, all right, well, how do I make that again? Well, I don't know. I created this thing. It came to me. I was inspired, et cetera, et cetera. So now all of a sudden you're like, well, the bean counter goes, oh, well, can you listen? Gold paint is really expensive this month. Can you use a different color? And you're like, well, that's not my vision. Right? So the bean counter wants you to make more art. Yo, can you make art faster so we can then make more money? And you're like, well, that's not how I want that thing, you know? Yeah. So I think that's, you see it in regular, when I say regular, like more structured jobs. Like I joked around this with Jess. I call her my sweet Jess. Sweet Jess. Like she's in sales. So sales is a very creative process. You build a relationship. You're managing things, putting out fires, hugging babies, and shaking hands and all that. And then there's the guy who's like, well, I think you need to be in the office more. And it's like, for what? I'm out here in the trenches, you know? And if that guy was never in sales, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, did you file your TPS reports, you know? And like, where's the, you know, no, where's your expense sheet? And like, you can't spend that much money on lunch. And it's like, yeah, I spent that much money on lunch, but I got us this big account. Like, I needed to do that. That was part of creating the art. Mm-hmm. And the bean counters never really understand that. They're just looking at the bottom line. So I feel like that with entrepreneurs, like you are both roles. And then there's this struggle of like, I want to make it like I do that. I'll create a post, something stupid that probably 10 people will see, you know, and then they'll, you know, I'm looking for the perfect song to put behind it. So because it's my attachment to it. Yeah. Right. And then meanwhile, the other person doesn't even have their sound on. They like went on. Oh yeah, I liked it. On to the next thing. So yeah, I get that struggle, and that's tough. That's a tough struggle. I love the sweatshirt that you have on. So Tom is sitting here with a Savvy Monk sweatshirt on, and it's got this purple flower design with a star in the middle. Is that embroidered?
It is embroidered.
I love embroidered sweatshirts. So when you're talking about like high-end stuff, like I have a sweatshirt that I got when I was 24. I got it from a surf shop in Ocean City, Maryland. I still have it. My sweet Jessica hates it because it has a frayed collar. The sweatshirt's still there, but that embroidery, Malibu Surf Shop, shout out if they're still around. Nice. And it's this embroidered dude on a surfboard. I don't know. There's something about it. It's timeless.
Yeah, embroidery lasts a long time.
I love it.
Looks beautiful when it's done well.
Yeah, it's sick. So your sweatshirt's cool. I like it. I like the colors too. Yeah. All right. Anything else about your business, Tom? So you're doing pop-ups? Is that how you're reaching people? You don't have a brick-and-mortar store?
No brick-and-mortar.
You are online, though.
I developed this, with the way technology and life is going, I wanted to jump into that side of it, create something in the e-commerce space where we could be mobile. Yeah. We love to travel. I like the thought of a brick-and-mortar store. I've, been involved in, retail that way. I really like when people come in and getting to meet people that way. And I do dream of having one even here in Westchester here in the future. But, we like to be mobile. So developing it as an e-commerce brand first was the goal, to do anywhere and kind of be able to travel.
Gives you a lot of flexibility. Yeah. And you don't have the overhead, man, because that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
It's more expensive in Westchester.
Oh, yeah. It's expensive. Let me tell you, it's expensive everywhere. Yeah. But, it's, now I got a place. Now I got to put stuff in the place. And then I got to have lights and
I really wanted to test the market first, too. And I saw the real opportunity in, the music festival scene. Yeah. When April and I met, she really got me into that. She loves music, and we started seeing the band Fish, and they travel all around, and there's always the Shakedown Street, and I was like, I saw other people doing it.
What is the Shake? I'm not familiar.
A place where creative vendors come and do little pop-ups.
Oh, okay, cool.
The Grateful Dead kind of started that thing. Everyone follows them around, and people sell their wares and goods to stay on tour, but the music festival, there's always a little vendor area, and I just was I was, getting dressed for these events, looking at these clothes, and I was I saw an opportunity there. Like, this is how I get in with my own brand. It's I've always been a skateboarder, snowboarder, surfer, and I thought it was going to be like just a skate brand someday. But I was like, no, it's like just a creative, like a beautiful, colorful brand that kind of like taps into the kind of like abstract world of the cool like psychedelic prints and stuff, and there's the opportunity to pop up. So I bought myself a tent, just made a few print-on-demand designs that really like touched a lot of people, and that's how it started.
Yeah, I'm on your website. I had your website up, and the psychedelic thing is, I get it. It's like would you call it niche?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like we go to a lot of concerts and music festivals, and when people like let loose at these things, they almost want to feel like they're in a rock star, right? They like love self-expression, creativity. So like people dress up like more,
I've seen lots of,
they get fun, fancy. And so we saw it as an opportunity to like, we love to do that too, right? And then we're like, hey, why don't we start our own brand, and we can have, there's things that like guys and girls can match, your whole crew can match, like the people that you go to the concert, and people love that energy. Like, you're on the dance floor tearing it up in these cool clothes, and people are like high-fiving you and like, oh my God, can I dance next to you? Like, this is so much fun. And it's just like, it's infectious, it's like, have fun with it, be creative. And just be, let your self-expression shine.
Yeah,
yeah.
I see
that's
that
you with the hat.
What's that?
That's you with your yacht rock hat, your sailor hat.
It is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it is. It's
exactly.
It's one of these things where people are like, oh, what's up with that? And like, oh, that guy. People want to be around people having fun.
Totally.
100%. Like, so when you're going someplace, whether, whatever it involves, if it's a certain type of music or, I don't know, it is people are attracted to that.
What really started it too was I went on this like health quest. A couple years ago, my mom passed away from MS, and she was really young, and she had suffered from it for her whole life. And I, seeing my kids were so young, it's like it really had me thinking about my health, right? And I got on this kick where I was like, I need to like really hone in and connect to, my true self and health. And when I looked at it, it was like really just following your heart and your passion is the only way to really align with who you really are supposed to be. And those people are the healthiest people. And I was like, well, I need to start really living for myself and follow my passion. Like I said, this is a passion I've had as like super young kid. Like I started skateboarding, I was like 11 or 12, and I just love the art in that, like every skateboard brand kind of had its own like vision and kind of like energy behind it, and I would like just draw all that, and I have a list of all these different brand names I thought I would have. And I think I was talking about Savvy Monk when I met April.
You were.
Many years ago. And I couldn't believe it when I went and, had my list, and I was like, starting the LLC, that I wanted to make sure I had the .com, all the social media pages, and they were all there. And I was like, okay, it's meant to be. And I was like, purchase.
How did you fall on that name?
Oh, so Savvy Monk, all right. Savvy was in my MySpace name back in the day. I really liked that word. It's kind of like, from like, I know, that aged me a little bit, but what's funny is from like Johnny Depp's character from the Pirates of the Caribbean. He was always saying that. And it's
savvy.
Like, savvy to like understand, and Monk is like, I started my like kind of like meditation, my quest for my like true self a long time ago. I found myself in just a weird place, just like at a place where I was like really looking at my life, and kind of took myself out of the world and put myself in like kind of like a monk monastery setting where I was like meditating a lot and just like really discovering my true self. Studied a lot of different religions like Buddhism, Hinduism, really it attracted me, and I kind of considered myself to be in those type of studies, reading lots of books and stuff. So the Savvy Monk together is like the new and old. Savvy is like the technology side, like going forward, embracing all the new things with technology, and the monk is like kind of honoring the past and sitting with myself every day and like just trying to really connect with that higher vibration and with meditation and life like that.
Do you share any of those practices with your children?
I try. They think I'm kind of funny and hippie-ish, and
yeah, we're hippies.
Yeah, they kind of like. But I think it rubs off a little bit, of like trying to get them to slow down and breathe and connect with themselves that way.
Well, I think it is a huge and undervalued scope of health and fitness for youth, right? We are like over-diagnosing, over-medicating a state of physiology that we don't understand. The simple thing is, hey, I want you to sit down for 8 hours and, pay attention when you're meant to be, moving around and doing these other things. Yeah. You have all this energy, and then you're like, oh, well, meanwhile, you're training them to have 15 seconds of, I'm holding up my phone, 15 seconds of attention at a time, and then you wonder why they can't sit still or follow rules or whatever these things are, and then we want to give you a pill instead of being like, hey, how can I auto-regulate through movement? Because we're not out in the field foraging and hunting and gathering. We're not out, we don't have to cover hundreds of miles to move on to our next place we're going to live, all those kinds of things, right? It's this idea of like rewilding, but yet getting back to these things that really align with nature. I say it, Eric hears me all the time, our biology hasn't caught up with our technology. And I think that in the youth, teaching them things like, hey, let me regulate with some breathing. It can be so simple, but yet so powerful in the moment to help a child understand their own physiology, that it's not like maybe as lofty as some of these other attributes that you were searching for in this physical practice. Meditation's a physical practice, right? Everybody thinks it's like I'm going to think of nothing. Like, that's one side. That is one pursuit often of meditation. Then there's the other pursuit where it's like hyper-focused concentration of things, like trying to manifest, or, like I'm concentrating on the thing. I want to smell it. and I can bring it about, those kinds of things. So I think that's kind of cool. So good for you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
it's we have so much power in our thought process,
We sure do.
And using that to create the life we want,
Yeah, I think a lot of people are so inundated with the day-to-day drudgery, and then we get beat over the head with doom and gloom and all these things that we miss being connected and what's really going on. And
it's this hustle culture, right? It's like hustle, we're almost like trained as kids to like go to school, go to college, get the job, work 9 to 5, and do it all over again. And it's like, and then consume, right? Consume.
How many people do you know, April, that are your age that are like, oh, if I had to do it all over again, I would do, and they know exactly, they say it all the time. They're like, oh, I wish I would have. I don't really live a life of regret because I feel like it's futile, but there's moments in time where I can think where I had these pivotal choose your own adventure moments where I go left or right, and I go, I wonder where I'm not stuck, but there are definitely pinpoints. Eric, do you have any moments like that? I mean, you're younger, you're in your 20s. Are there any moments that you can think of in your life where you're like, oh, right here is like where the path diverged?
I think there were points where, like, especially we were just talking about during COVID, where it's like, all right, is this, like, going to school in Westchester, like, is this what I want to do? Like, is this, you kind of evaluate that, and with everything going on. So I think points like that, like, should I have gone to school somewhere else? Should I have branched out?
You had a choice.
Yeah. Right? Should I have branched out more, maybe looked more? But that's about it for me. I think I'm...
So, but that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, hey, do I go to college here? Do I go to college there? And then like all the people you meet and the things you learn.
Yeah. And being close to home, like, it was great and very convenient, but we were also online for a year and a half, so it has you second guessing. It's like, all right, some of these others are back in school. What should I do? That sort of thing. But that's really about it. Okay. Personally.
All right. Well, talking about some of those things, let's pivot over to April.
Hey.
and we'll kind of come back together with some questions because I'm curious, like if what happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good story as a couple, right? Usually, like when you have a married couple or any couple, any partnership, and it's like, oh, one day I decide to do the thing, and the other person's like, well, I'm doing, I'm in my thing, and I'm going to stay here, and they're supportive and everything. But now you got two of you in the house that are like, hey, let's do this. So April, tell us your story.
Yeah. So pretty much like 25 plus years in corporate sales, got out of college and I did the thing where it was like, okay, I was taught to go get the job, go to college, get the job, make the money, get the benefits because it's safe, right? Like you work for somebody else, you make the money.
We were talking about that earlier.
And you climb up the ladder. Mm-hmm. And so I was doing the thing, making the money. And I'm a people person and I was in sales, so it came pretty easy to me. I always joke around I can make friends with a tree, right? So I can read people pretty good and just make someone feel relatively comfortable to talk to them about what I'm selling. So it worked for a while, but then we had the recession hit and things were kind of falling apart in sales, and it was a pivotal moment for me, which it's one of those things in my late 20s. I was like, well, I'm much more of a creative person. I do love people, but I had friends in the hair industry, and I thought it was fun and kind of rock starish. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I quit my sales job and went back to school and got a cosmetology degree. And I really loved it for a couple of years. It was a lot of fun. It's amazing to make people feel beautiful, and you really get close with your clients. And
let's not split hairs here. You make a good wage. I know what women spend on their hair and to look good and all that. One, it takes a lot of time.
Yep.
And it's a lot of skill. My daughter, who's now 20, she is in cosmetology. She hasn't full blown got into it. She just finished her thing, and then she moved back from Florida, so she's going to transfer her license, blah, blah, blah. But she does, coloring is her thing. She likes to do hair coloring.
Steve doesn't spend much on his hair.
I do not spend a lot of money on my hair, which I am grateful for.
Low maintenance.
Low maintenance.
Yeah.
But it's you can make a decent. I've known lots of women that made great livings doing hair, and there's all these things like you're working with people, you get to kind of make your own hours, and it's sort of the same trap kind of lies there. It's like, hey, I love doing this. What's the next step? Oh, I should own my own salon.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then all right, well, how do I make more money? I can only cut or do somebody's hair every, it's leveraging my time.
Right.
All right, well, now I'm going to open a salon, and I'll make money off of other people doing what I'm doing in my place, and I get a cut of more people's action kind of thing, et cetera, et cetera. And, there's good things to that. You help somebody else get a job. You're employing. It's all these good little worker bee things that are, make society great.
Yeah, it was fun, but we found ourselves, new into our relationship. We were having kids right away, and it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, I don't have health insurance with hair at the time.
And the timing,
okay. And then it was timing, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to be on my feet pregnant 10 hours a day and stuff like that. So I was like thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make this work. And then I just had an old sales boss that reached out to me serendipitously and was like, you can work from home. You can have benefits on day one. It's good money. And I was like, all right, I think the universe is telling me right now I should make the shift. It's it just felt good with, being parents and just that felt good to do. So I went back into sales and did it, and up until just last year when I left. But so it was good to me. But, it's like Tom said, he kind of kicked off the journey of, doing the inner work to really just align more with your true, authentic self. And I had a moment probably about 2 years or so ago where I was like, had a reflection where I was, man, my marriage is amazing. I have the love of my life. It gets better every day. I'm so lucky. I have these beautiful friends, like soulful relationships, like everything in my life, these beautiful children, so many things that were wonderful. But my work, man, I was like, my bosses suck. I'm traveling all the time on a plane. Let's taken away from my family.
Yeah.
Like really, the only thing that's good about my job is the money. It's like golden handcuffs, right? And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, there's got to be something more.
Now, some people settle into that, right? And that's not a right or wrong thing. But like some people are like, hey, listen, this thing allows me to then do these other things, right? So now we're going to talk about balance.
Yeah.
Right. Where do I? Hey, this is this is buying the cheese. This is putting gas in the cars, buying clothes, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe that gives your partner or spouse some flexibility and less rigidity in what they're doing. So you're like, I can keep this machine going because really in this partnership, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And but that can also lead to like jealousy, I think, sometimes in relationships. You're like, hey, I'm out here like, slaving away and traveling and you get to have fun at your job. Like Jess is always like jokes. She goes, "Oh, are you off doing something else for free that makes you no money?" That's like one of her little like kind of digs on things. Yeah. But she also doesn't have the interests of things quite. Like she has always struggled with what's my purpose? Is it selling these widgets? And we would all go like, oh, this is what you were create. If you're somebody who thinks in the bigger things, whatever you want to call that bigger thing, God, the universe, etc. It's like, oh, was I designed to be a widget builder? That sounds so blah. Yeah. I once watched a video, though. It was like an Indian guy. And, of course, he's like guru-ish. But he was like, yeah, that is what you were to do. Like some people, that is there's a figure in the Christian Bible, Melchizedek, who is like the quick piece of that is like your what do they call it? Your mission, whatever you want to call it. There's a word that's escaping my brain because I haven't drank all my coffee yet. Your somebody should know this.
What's the person?
I don't know.
I can look it up.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter though. But your thing is like, to be. And this goes back to a lot of Eastern. So Tom, you'll probably click on this. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh no, you are to be the best floor sweeper. That is your it's not mission, but
your purpose. It's
that is your purpose. Like, you do. That is your job in life to make the best widget, because that widget then, how does that radiate and circle out and affect all these other things? It's like how you touch people's life, ripples in a pond kind of idea.
Yep. Everybody has these natural gifts that we're born with. Yeah. That it's. Whatever that is a value to others. And when you can tune into that magic within you that gives value to others, that's where all the wealth and abundance in your life just falls into place naturally. But my point, getting back to it, I'll bring it because I kind of took it away, was like this idea like, hey, I'm out here, and I think some people get that like, not delusion of grandeur, but like, man, aren't I meant for something bigger or greater? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you ever read anything about human design? Yeah. Okay. I'm really getting into it lately. Yeah, I love it.
So really there's a person that I know affiliated here with the station, and I went and did like a human design reading with her, and I was like, oh, it's sort of like, oh, gee, like we were talking very early on about, these wild things. People predict things. Easter's coming up, et cetera. And it's like, man, wouldn't it be cool if suddenly, these beings, entities just kind of like, hey guys, you sort of got it right, but let me, here's the manual, because we've been doing it for 10 more million years than you. So just to kind of help you along, I'm not going to give you all the answers, but like, you were kind of right. Like, yeah, Jesus was a real dude, but not this thing. And, Muhammad was real, but he really was, that kind of not so whatever. You know what I mean? Like kind of gives you a little, the hack.
Yeah, direction, right? Like
some
they
direction,
just laid out the steps for you.
Yeah.
That's the right path.
Yeah. So I think people like get to those. Some people would never get to that point, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm just, I'm here and I'm in it. But I think there's these little voices sometimes, or maybe we beat that down. I don't know. But you had your pivotal moment.
Yeah, I think, I think in general, the reason people don't get there is because you have to slow down. Like it's that simple, and we fill our days with so much to-do lists and so much hecticness that you don't leave time or space for just to be. And it's when you're in that present moment with yourself is then when those sparks, those ideas kind of come up. But for me, it was like 2 years ago, I was stressed too, man. I was just tired and exhausted and stressed. And I'm like, I'm done with this. Like, this isn't life, I just want something more. And then I was like, but, I'm 40, I was like 47 at the time. And I was like, all right, well, then my next move, I want it to be something that's like me, right? Like, why can't it just be like an extension of me, like super easy and like, I'm a rock star. I grew up like watching David Lee Roth on MTV, so he was a big influence in my life.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I remember seeing him on stage and
Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave, he's the man. I want to be like
There is
Diamond
something
Dave,
about his personality that made him a rock star. I think
electric,
that's
like I wanted to have that electric feel in front of me. Like, this is just what I'm doing.
Kick.
It's me. Yeah, the kick. Savvy monk, wear those cool outfits. But so I was like, okay, so Tom already was doing the meditating and everything, and I wasn't taking the time to do that because I was busy all the time. Yeah. I'm like, we
get into survival mode, right?
Yeah.
I lived a lot of my life like that. It affected my relationships. When you're in it, you don't know you're in it until you really usually somebody else, your partner, something really, there's a moment where the mirror gets in front of you and you go, oh.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something else that I can do, that I should do, or what it looks like. But if you're if you're in it and you're surrounding yourself with those same people and nobody's, it's like the bucket of crabs. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Oh, so if you've ever taken a bucket and put a bunch of crabs in it, they all are trying to get out of the bucket, but they will literally grab another crab, pull it down, and then get on top of that crab. And so everybody stays in. No crab ever gets out of the bucket. It's crabs in a bucket. Nobody, maybe one or two get out, but everybody's trying to keep getting ahead, and they'll do so by stepping on you or pulling you down instead of really going like, hey, maybe if I help you, and then you can put a hand down to me. Type like crabs don't operate like that.
Yeah. Corporate world can be like that too.
Crabs in a bucket. Yeah. Well, a lot of the world. Period. Let's just say.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But Tom was like, doing the meditations and started doing oracle cards in the morning. We pull like an oracle card in the morning, ask like, God, the universe, whatever you would like to align with question. And he pulled this card one morning, and he knew I was like soul searching and just kind of wasn't sure what to do. And this card was the Whirling Goddess by this Rummy oracle card, and he said, here, I pulled this card this morning, and I just want you to read it because I feel like it's just like something that you need right now. And I read the card, and in essence, the card is about stop thinking with your mind so much and release and dance with your heart. Like, take a moment and just like do what your heart feels is right and dance with that and let go of all the like I should do this or like we get in our heads and our minds so much.
We were just talking about that earlier. And it's like, how you are not your mind is often a thought of consciousness versus the mind. What's the thing telling you don't do that because a part of you wants to like be safe. And then there's the true you. People we're all still trying to figure that out, what that really is. But we were talking about that just earlier. So.
But it just really resonated with me. It like touched me. And actually I cried and I was like, man, that's it. Like I got to stop trying to have this forced energy. Like I need to fix it. I need to figure it out and just like be. like be and just relax and know that
instead of swimming upstream, we're going with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow. Realize that it's all divine timing and that it will all work out for me, and to just like release that, like how, and just lead with the heart, like what feels good. So it really was a pivotal
in many
moment
religions,
for me. Yeah.
You know, like in the Christian Bible, it's like, you know, the grass grows, the flowers, you know, do they worry about eating? Do the birds worry about where the worms are coming from?
Right.
Like, no, like, you know,
It
God,
always works out.
The universe provides, right? And it's that faith in that the setup is there.
Yeah.
And I find that to be very true in my life. Whatever you want to attribute that to, that, you know, it's the energy of worrying, of what, you know, another cliche thing is like, oh, well, if you can worry about all the bad crap that can happen, why not put that energy into thinking about all the good that can, you know, it's mind shift.
We started this
change
thing. Instead of saying, what's the worst that can happen, we say, what's the best thing that can happen?
Yeah.
When you look at a decision, say, what's the best thing that can happen when if I do this, you're like, wow, that really changes your view of like, making that decision. Yeah. Like, this could be awesome. It might be hard to do, but has a potential to be an amazing outcome.
And it's not just, there's so many things to what you both are saying, and that are really based, there's a lot of physiology and what we think of as hard science that backs these things up. You know, like if you know, choose to look for something, you create this blueprint of training your brain to look for those things. And I always tell everybody, like, just as simple as like pain, like, you know, if you hurt yourself, then you're like, well, I don't want to hurt myself again. And you're like, well, if you look for it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
You will always find it. So training yourself to look for those things. But there's a balance there too, right? Because arguably we got here at the top of the food chain because, you know, we didn't just walk outside the cave, oh, that's it, gone, you know.
You gotta be a little smarter than that, right?
Yeah, right? Sure. So there's some of that I think is, you know, is our biology, that's to protect us.
It's our ego. Yeah, what they call it. So there's I got really into neuroscience, so I'm a total neuroscience geek. But like,
me too. Yeah. I'm a nerd. I love that stuff because the brain is like fascinating, and we know it's the frontier. Of things. All right, so you had this pivotal moment.
So I just started then, going to just like lead with my heart and kind of just like where it takes me. So, you know, eventually I saw my job had really good benefits. Hey, there's like a life coach. I was like, what's a life coach that I could like talk to and, you know, confidently just tell them what I'm going through. And I was like, maybe this life coach can help me figure out where I'm going. Right. So this life coach told me to meditate, told me to do guided meditations and visualize my future self. And I was like, what is that? And she was like, listen, like just 10 minutes a day, like, you know, go through this guided meditation and picture like when you're happy and like,
what's that look like?
What's that look like? Who are you with? What are you wearing? What are you doing? You
know how many business mentors I've had that have been like, hey, I want you to write out what's your perfect day.
Yeah.
And I've had people in my life that are like, that's dumb. How's that going to improve your business? And I'm like, well, it lets you know what's really important and what do you value. Yes. And then you can align the actual physical tasks to that thing.
Yep.
Like if you're like, I want the biggest business in the world, well, that's very different than I want to, you know, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing
is. It's true. It's like you allow yourself to dream, because when you allow yourself to dream, that's
creativity.
And we're humans. Human nature is to be creative. And you know,
that's how we solve problems, right?
Right.
Like it's the simplest way. You must like be like, oh, this isn't fitting into this peg, into this square, whatever. And you're like, I got to think outside the box. And how do I do that? I got to create and go, it's all perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
So it just reaffirmed to me like what I already knew is I love people. I love connecting with people. I love, you know, I already had been life coaching, I feel like, friends for years. Like when I made this shift, friends were like, well, duh, like you've been life coaching me for years. Like I love the bond between people and just helping each other out and inspiring others to greatness, right? Like to be the best that you could be. And so it just kind of hit me like, this is what I want to do. And then I was doing the meditations and I started getting into Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you follow him or not, but
come on.
Yeah. He's
Of course.
He blew my mind. I started listening to his podcast, and I was like, what? Like,
and there's some
we have
real
this power?
hardcore research that he's doing.
Yeah.
Like
awesome.
real, like when people are like, oh, okay. It's like,
science-based.
Yeah.
It's neuroscience. It's proven. Quantum physics. It's like goes back to Einstein, right? It's like,
it's amazing.
it's amazing that when you realize, I was like, what? We're 99.9% energy and like only 0.01% is matter. Like, what? That's crazy. And and everything around us is energy. And if we can like get on the right frequency, we can attract.
Yeah. So
like,
right
our
now
best
there are
lives.
people out there going,
what is this? I know, but it's.
But if you know anything about atoms and molecules, right?
Yes.
We know that like things don't touch each other. Like, a proton doesn't. It's a thing that circles the other thing.
Yeah.
And the thing it's circling is really not a thing in itself. It's a bunch of other things that are just kind of vibrating or moving around. And then you're like, well, if there's space between all this stuff, imagine like a pit. For the people out there listening, imagine one of those ball pits like you put your kids into at the Chuck E. Cheese kind of thing. Kind of gross, but whatever. Right? And so you can just put your hand between that. Like that's how but what's keeping them together? What makes it dense? Yeah, there's this energy and all that. But why can't I just go whoop right through this door? Because it's not really solid. Like when we think of, matter and solid. So what's holding it all together? It's all energy. And even that they don't even know, right? When we start talking about like strand theory and what's that when the two things are connected? I forget what that term is, scientific term. Like it can be like a thing gazillion light years away, but they interact the same because they're connected on this.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember, but anyway, it's all like, oh yeah, I'm observing a particle and then it's not there. Oh yeah, now it's there again, and it's like, well, what's that? And you're like, oh, okay, so explain that one to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he basically inspired me to like.
That's cool.
Wow, where my energy goes, where my thought, like I can just change my thought process. I can focus on the things that I want, and then it like just naturally unfolds in my life, and like things are attracted to me, and I'm not like forcing it. I was like, well, this sounds really cool. I was like, well, why not? Why not give it a go and try it? So I just started really diving into all of those practices, and it was like magic. Like, I mean, as soon as I started doing it, it was like, oh, this opportunity came up here. Or, oh, hey, this person was introduced into my life, and it was just making it easier and unfolding. And so I started doing this, knowing that I wanted to become a life coach, but I'm still working my corporate job. So like, okay, my kid's in gymnastics, and I ran into like an old coworker I hadn't seen in like 20 years because her kid was in gymnastics, and she's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm still in sales, but I'm thinking about being a life coach. She's like, oh yeah, well, so-and-so who we used to work with is a life coach, and she's doing amazing. And I think she coaches like women entrepreneurs to be like, 6-figure life coaches, and like, you should look her up. So then like, I was like, okay, I should look her up, and then she became a coach of mine. And so I started doing that. And I remember coming to Tom one day, and I said, Tom, like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest in this program with her.
And listen, I've seen some of these programs. They're not cheap.
No, it's like,
because it's
it was
an
not
investment.
cheap. It was an investment, but I felt like in my gut, like I had to do it. And if I really need to do it, I didn't even know where I was going to find the time, because I'm like still working 10-hour days, But I said, I don't know where I'm going to find the time, Tom, but I feel like I need to do it. And he's amazing. And he's like, well, just do it. Like, you got this. And so I pulled the trigger, signed up for the program. Literally the next morning, I get a call from my boss in sales, and she was like, we're letting you go. I was like, wow, that is mind-blowing, with severance and benefits. And I was like,
now you have
this
time
is it.
to get this in, and you got a chunk of money.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That's wild.
Right?
I love that story.
Like, what a beautiful moment. And I was like, okay, this isn't scary. This is actually, this is my time to go. Yeah. Right? I was given this opportunity, so we just ran with it, and here we are. Awesome. Yeah. So I have this awesome life coaching program, and it's like,
let's talk about like what you're both offering. Obviously, Tom is offering cool savvy clothing.
Yeah. My I work with. I realized that when I made this move, so many people came up to me, Steve, and were like, "Oh man, I wish I could do that too," or I don't really like my job either. Yeah. Like, but I do it because like that's what we're like adulting, and that's what we do. Mm-hmm. It's like, and so I realized that that's my magic. My magic is to help other people like me who want to do something different. And maybe they already know, right? Maybe they already know what they want to do. They just don't understand the how to get there yet, and they need some coaching on that. Or
that's the intuition, right?
Yeah.
You were kind of talking about that, and that's a lesson that I've learned in the past few years. It was like smack in the face of like, oh yeah, thinking with your head or thinking with your heart. You know, what does that really mean? You know, there's people out there like thinking with your heart. That sounds dumb. That's not real. And it's like, well, when you start to understand, you know, there's a lot of things that go, you know, I don't want to take up the time me talking, but you know, there's a lot of things that go along with that. What is intuition? Some people call it ancient knowledge. It's like, you know, there's knowledge embedded in us at a cellular level in our DNA that tells other things, our biology, how to replicate, how to do other things. So why can't it go? And this is the argument for, so when people are like, when they poo-poo something, I always try and go back to some type of what I call hard science, which we could argue that point as well. How hard is the science? But it's like, you know, a dog's breed. Like, how are certain dogs bred to do these things? They just are naturally, they're born to be a herder. They come out of the womb and they want to herd everybody. Where'd that come from? They didn't learn that.
Yeah.
It's encoded in them some way. We are passing on this stuff. It's like how we get here, because somebody was smart enough to go, oh, I shouldn't eat that thing, and then I won't die. And then you do, and now my bloodline, my DNA keeps going further. And I think those things are encoded in us. And sometimes those are bad things that we take along for the ride, and we know that we have, you know, these genes that are encoded in us, but then we have the what triggers the gene. It's the, you know, our environment, our nurturing, what we learn in programmers, the genetic expression.
Right.
So like when people are like, oh, what, you know, we have this knowledge, you know, there's something to that I don't think you just, you know, you could just shove it off, but then you're kind of stupid. That's what you're not open. You're not ready. Maybe you're not ready yet.
Not ready. Yeah. You have to be ready, right? So my clients are just like timing ready for a shift in their life. And I help them really just in tune with, like, you know, their inner knowledge. I teach manifestation, and I teach meditation and how to be present and how to find the answers within. You know, a lot of the questions I ask are all open-ended questions, because when somebody's asking you these questions, it's amazing how light bulbs just go off, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, like I really don't want to do this, or like, this is what I want to do. And it's, you know, holding people accountable.
You're like, I don't know. And it's like, oh, did you ever have a mood? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so
it's peeling layers of an onion, right?
Yeah. So it's, you know, I feel like a lot of women are attracted to me too. And it's just like, they're, you know, they did the thing. They're moms, they had the career, and now it's like, maybe their kids are a little bit more grown up, and they're like, you know, like now it's time for me. And I want it to be meaningful. And I have ideas, but I'm not really quite sure how to do it. And so I'm there to help coach them, there to help teach them also the, you know, the inner practices on how to just align with who they are and find the answers. And so it's been amazing. And, you know, a lot of it too is just like you said, it's like deprogramming. It's like, you know, we learn experiences when we're a kid, we attach emotions to them, and then it's just like autopilot programming that is making the decisions in our lives, you know, attracting a certain type of people in our lives, opportunities that we don't even realize that we're running on these like old programming that we learned when we were younger.
Yeah.
So it's creating the awareness around that too. So then that you can shift those beliefs, because they're just beliefs. They're not, it's not truth. It's not facts. It's just, you know, experiences that we had that we stamped a belief to, you know, and that's, so it's like understanding what's like holding them back, these subconscious blocks from their goals. And then it's like these eureka moments, like, oh, well, you know, for me, I grew up thinking like you work hard, and when you work hard, then you make money. Work hard, make money. Work hard, make money. You know, and then like it's on the weekends you can have some fun or something. But that was
outcome based.
Yeah,
right?
outcome based.
We always think we have to be doing something to get value.
Yeah.
Either I do this and then I get value from something, or I must do something so that I am valued. Right, at my job, I get a raise if I'm a better worker. You know, my parents are proud of me because I've done this thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's always this outside validation that you know, I'm not sure where that all comes from. I'm sure we could like really kind of get into that, but like it's also then it becomes sometimes which there's nothing wrong with, I don't think, but there's also varying degrees, right? It's all a sliding scale.
Yeah.
And that's polarity, right? There's never this yes, no. It's more like, well, maybe, kind of, sometimes. More of this, less of that, and that's where it gets very individualized. But yeah,
and it's just like you said, nothing is right or wrong. It's just experiences and the beliefs that you put around it. So like I realized that that was something that was blocking me from being an entrepreneur. Like I have always had a desire to work for myself. I just never did it because I
can't do it.
I can't do it.
I'm not that guy or girl.
Oh my God, I'm not going to make any money or like, it's that kind of stuff where that's like really scary. I got to work for somebody else. It's the fear. Yeah, so I was able to, there's practices that I teach and I learned myself, practices where you can reframe these thoughts and beliefs and rewire it. And through repetition and emotional connection, you can rewire your subconscious, which is such a beautiful thing to then align with the goals and the dreams that you want to attract into your life. And it's neuroscience, it's scientifically backed and it works. And so I started doing this myself. And so that's what I teach others to do, for them to make these major shifts in their life and to call in what they really want.
Yeah,
right?
I think if you talk to any therapist or counselor or psychologist that, there's this program that's running back there. Like when your phone's not on, it's still on. There's stuff going on that's happening, and that's happening in our brain. And, we're picking up all these, these signals because, well, that's just, that's what we learn to do.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think there bricks of that road are laid very early on in our development. And, like I've long since, forgiven, my dad did the best he could with the tools that he had. There's this grace of like going like, all right, I don't want to hold on to, I think a lot of people ruminate, but they stay stuck in a previous thing, trying to change something in the past to then, well, you're never going forward if we're always doing that, right? Yeah. It's like being here in the moment, I think, is always the start to many things. Is being right here, taking a good 360 look around and going, where am I at? And now maybe I can go, which direction do we want to go in? And I think people like you are a huge help to that. There was a time where I might have been like, oh, a life coach, really? You need somebody to tell you what to do. And, but it's like, well, how is that any different than a therapist? I mean, in many ways. So there's a therapist out there, a psychologist going, well, I'll tell you how it's different. It's kind of like, well, again, there's varying degrees, right? How is that different than any mentor or a parent or, people, have come through society and maybe they haven't had any of those things. They haven't had a religious leader. They haven't had a really, you hear people often remember this profound person in their life that helped shape them, whether it's a parent or maybe it's an elementary school teacher or maybe it's an experience that they have was their teacher, and I would agree that we have all of those things happening if we're paying attention. But with
the school aspect, even from a young age, you have guidance counselors.
Right.
High school, and that's something where it's
that's a life coach, dude, for real.
You're unsure what you're going to do. You go for them for career advice.
Right. And when I went to school, it was like, oh, fill out this test. Oh, well, you should be a plumber. You know what I mean? Like, how did you? Where did we get that information? How's that any different than pulling out a deck of oracle cards, which I am familiar with. I know what they are. So, like, doing that or ancient cultures, reading tea leaves or things that there's this intuition and ancient knowledge and whatever helps kind of focus or funnel energy. And
try shifting your mic.
Hello?
There we go.
Yeah. I know I banged the mic because I'm all crazy over here, all energy. So, all right. Well, listen, April, Whirling Goddess Coaching. How can we find you? What if we want to work with you? What if there's a woman out there who's like, man, that sounds like me?
Yeah, you can, whirlinggoddesscoaching.com is my website. You can reach out to me there through my email. And then I'm also on Instagram, mostly just talking my talk. So Whirling Goddess Coach on Instagram. You can DM me on there. And then, I'm even excited to say that soon I'm going to start a podcast. So I talk a lot about this subject because I'm really passionate about it. I'm like, well, podcasts inspire me, so why not? Let's give it a go. So I'll be starting a podcast soon too, in another week or two. And so, yeah, just follow me on Instagram and go to my website.
What's your podcast going to be called?
Joy Chasers Club.
Right.
Joy Chasers Club. Yeah. I like that. I like the phrase Joy Chaser because there's a lot of things that evokes in me personally. I like that. I like the sound of it. And I've seen a number of your social media posts where you're like, hey, Joy Chasers. I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool. Yeah. You do. I think you do. There is something about you, April, that makes it easy to connect with people. Whatever that is that makes you you. That's a pretty powerful tool. And I am really, happy that you're getting to use it and for good stuff. Tom,
thank you.
How can people find your clothing?
SavvyMonk.com.
SavvyMonk.com.
I'm on Instagram too, and Facebook, TikTok. I'm going to start using those channels more. But the website is the easiest way, and it puts you in touch with all my socials too.
And it's Monk with a U, so SAVVY.
Correct.
MUNK.com.
Yep.
And you can find them on Instagram and Facebook. So April Redding and Tom Redding. If you were out there, we have a few minutes left here, I guess. Actually, we have a lot of minutes, kind of. Are you guys all right?
Yeah, man.
Break? We're good?
Have a good time.
All right, cool. Yeah. As a couple, what do you think have been some big challenges? Like, somebody's out there, they're looking to make a pivot. They're looking to be like, man, I want to start my own business, right? How has that affected your relationship, or maybe you have some advice for somebody out there who's thinking about it?
Well, I think luckily for us, it's been easy. We've always been super supportive. We've connected from first time we met. I feel like it's been easy to support you, and somehow you've always supported me. I think we started out with this vision of our future selves, right? Like we, a couple years ago, I don't know if it was with Dr. Joe Dispenza's book about becoming superhuman, or one of the many other books I read, Great book. But having that goal and vision for yourself is like, that's what started for me. Like, what was the ultimate vision for myself? And it's like, I've always thought of myself as being this business owner of a fashion brand, and then aligning my decisions to reach that future self of me, and explaining that to her, and her understanding that, and her now April is just it's part of who she is, being able to help me see my vision too and make those decisions. But
I think it's just what makes you happy? It's like a simple question to just ask yourself, and like take the time, like over a cup of tea, or like don't be distracted. And it's just like, if it's aligning with like every day, what makes me happy today? How do I want to go out in the world and just be my best version of myself? And what does that look like, right? And it's just simple awareness like that will really get you to where you want to go. And if you have this nudge, this inclination to start your own business, or to do something different, it's there for a reason. The reason you have these ideas, these dreams, is because it's a part of you, right? And
there's something, at the very least, I think you should explore it.
You should explore it, right?
Yeah. You don't have to make these big, giant. I think there's so many people that feel like, they don't even explore it because they go, what's the good in that?
Right.
What is the good of daydreaming? And I think it is because in society we have this freaking phone in our hand. It's doing the dreaming for us. It's putting the images and things like, oh, I like that and I like this. I heard the term the other day. It's not social media anymore. It's interest media. So if you're interested in something, you'll follow it, you like it, and then you're looking for that, and then the algorithm's curating that and putting that in front of you. But what it's missing is there's no daydreaming. Like the beauty of the internet is if I want to go on there and I go to it to look for something, not I just turn something on and things are spewing towards me like a garden hose, right? I can turn on and off the hose, but I'm not controlling what's coming through the hose, right, ultimately. Yeah. And where the internet that's the beauty of the internet, connectiveness of like, I can connect with somebody, a million miles away, and we can talk, and like, hey, I'm doing it over here. What are you doing? Oh, that's so cool. I never thought of that. You can share and collaborate. I've often, Erica's heard me say, like, collaboration is our superpower as human beings, right? When we come together, Napoleon Hill, when you get what do they call it? The mastermind group of people, like, all trying to achieve the thing, whatever that is, or support each other. And it's all that tribe mentality that I think we've scaled too far out of. We're out of touch with all those things, but. It's that daydreaming, man. We don't dream. You don't, anybody I've ever met that's been like, no, I don't want to meditate. Like my thoughts race. And I'm like, well, right. Because you've got them dammed up. Right. And you're never letting your thoughts just go. And then once you let that flow go, you might find that, the flow slows down. Yeah. Because you've released the dam, At first, it's very overwhelming, I think. Yeah. But you don't have to make this big giant thing, but the exploration of what if? Yeah, what if? And if you have an idea, what's the best thing that could happen, as Tom said? Yeah, what's the best thing can happen? Right. And I always tell my clients too, like, you just need to take one little action. It doesn't have to be, I have this idea and I'm going to just quit my job today and then take it on. It's not like that. It's like, well, what's the one little action that you can take towards exploring that idea that you have? Is it researching it online? Is it, I have a client right now that, like, she's like, I really want to work with, like, the elderly community, and they don't know a lot about technology, and, like, wouldn't it be cool if someone is there to, like, teach them how to, like, go online for their medical, information. I mean, there's a demographic out there that doesn't know how to do that. And the best way to reach instead of reinventing the wheel, I always tell people, like, look to see what's already out there and see how you can collaborate and be with it. Because it's a great way, like the senior center right here in Westchester. Yes, exactly. Go to the senior center and they already probably have somebody that comes in and does it. Maybe, or like, but you can go in there and just be like, hey, they love, like, somebody's going to come in and do something for free. Yes. And then so when I was, I still teach self-defense, but my self-defense mentor was like, hey, teach it to your friends and family, and then it's free. And then nobody can complain because you didn't pay anything. So you are already, you have the value. Like, I think there's some of that. Everybody wants to go out and make $1 million. And it's like, well, what value are you bringing? So give it away for free, and then you'll find those people will come to you, and then all of a sudden, step, right? Yeah. So I told her to, like, just like you said, contact a senior center, see if you could do something for free, and then really, it's just, I think I had a coach one time say to me, just like try it and find out, like, what's the risk? Like, no pressure, you know what I mean? Right. Like, remove all the pressure and just take a little action and see what happens. And then maybe that leads to another action, it's just, or another idea. And so I think release all the how and the pressure and just take little actions towards what is inspiring you. Sounds like some great advice, guys. Yeah. Well, listen, I wish you two continued success, because I see you as successful because you look very happy and you're doing your thing and you're not, like, homeless. So all of that to me is success. It is. Yeah. And so Savvy Monk, SAVVYMUNK.com for Tom's clothing line. And you're involved in that business too, right, April? Yeah, yeah. It's not just Tom. I guess I shouldn't say that.
Right hand. I help out with all the back end processes, like the design genius. I came to her.
I was like, hey, I want to do this. Will you be my partner? Will you do this with me? That's cool. She's definitely inspired a lot of it. And as any whirling goddess, I would think, would. Yeah. Right? Who wouldn't want a whirling goddess in their team? That's right. And then April, so you're doing life coaching and you have a program. You offer that online?
Yeah, it's online. It's a group coaching program that I'm going to be launching here actually in the next month. Okay. So it's.
How would we find out about that?
Yeah, whirlinggoddesscoaching.com. It's on simple. There. Yeah, and I'll be on Instagram too, Whirling Goddess Coach.
Awesome. Yeah. I would love if you guys are doing any events. I tell this to everybody, and I have yet to have people really a few people take me up on it. You can call in. You reach out to me anytime. Hey, I've got something I want to promote. I'd love to have you back in. We'll talk about it because this is the Talk of Chester County, and we are interested in the people of the Chester County community, and that's you guys. and you have something to offer, and I think it's great. And maybe you're going to connect me with my next guest.
Yeah.
You never know. So any of those things, I throw out that invitation. Come back. You can tell me what's next or tell me what's going on.
We love that. Thank you. Yeah.
There's lots of
We'll be at
Love what you're
Turk's
doing.
Head again this year. So,
we'll be at Turk's Head.
when is the music festival?
I think
Turk's Head
it's
Music
June
Festival?
7th this year.
All right, June 7th.
Yeah, you'll find us there locally.
Everyone, have we sent anybody there?
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think we've done
We
that
have like
before.
people that do like some remotes. Sometimes I go out and I'll do like interviews and then we post them on our
Festival and
social
different
media.
things, yeah.
So, all right, cool.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Well, listen, thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for taking time out of your day for coming in.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Listeners, I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back, I think, with some news and probably Sarah Smith from the Brandywine Valley SPCA. Thank you, April and Tom. Savvy Monk Clothing, savvymonk.com, and Life Coaching with Whirling Goddess Coaching, April Redding and Tom Redding. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you.